Hey guys, SaintsKnight 283 here, welcoming you guys back to the channel here with the first episode of a new series. In case you couldn't tell by the background, this is about one of my favorite motorsports ever, Formula 1, or favorite sports ever, Formula 1. Now you guys may remember we did I did a film series on F1 2017. You guys seem to like that, and whilst I was recording that, I was thinking, maybe I need to actually get a F1 show, because I wanted to do that with On One Shot doing his show, United Woodworker, and with Gilroy and I, the brains and organization behind the AllSaints show. Those two are his babies. I figured pretty much that this be my child, my little creation. This is a show for people who either are new to Formula 1, who want to know a little bit about it, or those fans of Formula 1 where we can discuss and debate all this sort of stuff. In this show, I'll be going through some of the rules and regulations for the 2018 season. Whenever races are done, I'll be giving my in-depth analysis on the season, how it's going so far. And in between that, I may actually do a video like this, detailing like top 10 favorites, or actually like favorites of something. But today, for a little introduction, I want to go into my personal top 5, because top 10 would have taken a little bit too long. Top 5 cars ever made for Formula 1. Now, before I start, this is all just my personal opinion, so take this as a grain of salt, but I'm mostly right when it concerns matters of Formula 1. But here we go. The first car on this list is an Alfa Romeo 158. Actually, the Alfa Romeo 158, driven by Juan Manuel Fangio from 1947 to 1951. Now, the reason why I put this car on the list is because, well, first of all, it's an Alfa Romeo. Look at it. Second off, it's driven by. It was actually driven. This was the actual same car that actually won the very first Monaco Grand Prix for Juan Manuel Fangio in 1951, I believe. Now, this car actually was used from 1947, when Formula 1 started after World War II, until about 1953 or 1954. But it had 190 brake horsepower, which at the time was actually quite good, and as I said, looks brilliant. And it was a little bit hard to control, I will admit, but that's what I like about Formula 1 these days. It's all about the danger element. As a lot of these cars are actually on the list are quite dangerous to drive. Which brings me on to number 4, to a more safer one and probably the most modern car on this list. The Ferrari F2002. This is probably the most powerful car on the list, with 900 brake horsepower. The most famous one, the most recognized one, because it was the one driven by Michael Schumacher when he won the 2002 Formula 1 World Championship. Actually, I think 2 of his World Championships were won in this. However, I'd say they're a bit controversial given the set of circumstances behind it. And this was used only in the it was in the 2002 and 2003 seasons of Formula 1. And honestly, I do like it, actually, despite Michael Schumacher, one of my most hated drivers on it, Michael Schumacher. I can already hear the comments be ablaze. Why do you hate Schumacher? I'll get into that in another video. But, yeah. Again, the looks of this car, the technology, and all, actually, the reason why I like this comes in the combination of Ferrari engineering, which Ferrari are brilliant at Formula 1, whenever they're good at Formula 1. They make sure cars for road, but I'm not going to get into that. Ferrari engineering, the styling, and just whenever you see this on the track, you instantly know it's going to be a beast. And look at it, it already is a beast. It looks great, and it was ahead of its time, actually, due to all the technological components in that. Unlike this next car at number 3, the McLaren M24, which was McLaren's Formula One car from 1971 to 1978. 7 years. So I think out of all the cars on this list, is probably the car with the longest lifespan. Actually, yeah, longest lifespan. This had about 500 brake. Actually, it was probably the middle ground here, about 500 brake horsepower. So it wasn't low on power, but it wasn't exactly high on power either. It was a perfect middle ground. Driven by, most people recognize this car as being driven by Emerson Fittipaldi and for us Brits, James Hunt in the 1976 World Championship, which a lot of F1 fans would know just how tense that season was. That's partly why it was on there. And despite all mechanical failures, engine blowing up, engine failures, DNFs constantly from Hunt, the car was still when it was working, it was brilliant. It took wins. It was able to compete with Niki Lauda, who was the best driver at the time, and it was able to compete with Ferrari, who were the best team, in my opinion, for the 1972 World Championship, 76 World Championship, because Niki Lauda already proved the year before that he could dominate the championship spectrum with Ferrari. So he wanted to so Hunt actually was able to knock him down a peg, and honestly, McLaren had a thing for making cars look good, and this is no exception. This is a masterpiece. I mean, if you just look at that, you automatically know that it's a McLaren, given by the color scheme, the wheels, and all that. Unlike number 2, where it's a little bit different, a little bit more modern, you have to go all the way back to the 1980s. That's right, for a Lotus, actually, a surprising contender there, a Lotus 97T, which on this list is the most unsuccessful Formula One car ever. Why? It didn't win a single World Championship for any of its drivers. Oh, but then SaintsKnight, why did you put it up there? It may not have won a lot of World Championships, or any World Championships, but in the hands of the right driver, which is my favorite racing driver and the best Formula One racing driver in the world, Ayrton Senna, in his hands, it was a machine. It was a god amongst all men, and it was blistering quick, setting record lap times, record qualifying paces, and it gave him third and second places. And then again, this was Senna at his most youngest, after he just left Holman. So you can imagine, but nothing can compare to Senna at his best. And that's what Lotus was, the start of something fantastic for A, the World Formula One, B, the fans of the sport, the drivers, and Senna for his career, which gave him a boost up to get him into the number 1 car. The number 1 car. If you're a fan of Formula One, you may know what this car is. If you're actually watching documentary Senna, you obviously know what this car is. If you've played F1 2017, and you've seen my videos on F1 2017, you definitely know what this car is. That's right. It's the McLaren MP4. Now this car had 800 brake horsepower, and it was very light. So the power to weight ratio was nuts. 937 brake horsepower per ton in a car that weighed less than 1,000 kilograms, which is amazing. On top of that, this is the most successful Formula One car ever made. I really mean most successful Formula One car ever made, because it has a win ratio, ready, of 93.67%. So it won nearly every single one of its races. The only other car to come even close to that is Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes in the 2016 season of Formula One, with a win average of 90%. Actually, of 90.37%. The reasons why I put this car on top of the list is because its history, its heritage, the fact that you just take one look at a car, you instantly know it's iconic, it's Formula One. You just know what it is. I mean, even with the F2002, you could still, while the F2002 is more powerful and safer, but whilst I could have put like Red Bull's car in there, this in my opinion is the epitome of Formula One. This is what F1 should be. Lots of power, light, no safeties, nothing safe on it at all. So there we are. That was my list of my favorite 5 cars in Formula One. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Whatever your thoughts, leave them down below. And what do you think of this F1 show? Leave your thoughts actually about a show in Formula One. Again, comments down below. But apart from that, I'm afraid it's now time to end today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you're not new, then don't forget to push the bell icon to get notified on whenever we post any new videos, whether it be the F1 show, the Nutty Woodworker, the AllSaints show, any of our gaming videos, whatever we post out, click that bell, be sure to get notified. And apart from that, guys, we'll see you in the next video. So until then, guys, as always,